The Whispering Hollow. In a remote corner of the world, hidden by an ancient forest where sunlight barely touches the ground, lies Whispering Hollow. The locals speak of it only in hushed tones, warning outsiders never to venture there. They say the trees themselves remember and speak of terrible things. Clara, a young urban explorer driven by curiosity and skepticism, decided one evening to brave the forest. Armed only with a flashlight and her journal, she crossed the tangled undergrowth into the fog that clung to the hollow like a shroud. At first, all was silence save for her footsteps. But as she ventured deeper, soft whispers began to swirl through the trees, indistinct voices calling her name, recounting stories of sorrow and loss. The voices seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere, weaving through the branches like the wind. Clara's heart pounded as the whispers grew louder, almost urgent, telling her of a shadow trapped between worlds, doomed to wander the hollow until someone freed it. She followed a faint glow toward the heart of the forest, where a gnarled tree stood, its bark blackened and cracked as if scorched. Suddenly, the whispering stopped. An oppressive silence fell. Then, a cold hand grasped her shoulder, ice burning through her skin. She spun around, but nothing was there. The only sound was her ragged breathing. She tried to flee, but the forest seemed alive, branches twisting to block her path, roots tangling her feet. As dawn broke, the villagers found her at the edge of the hollow, eyes wide open but empty, her voice lost, replaced by a chilling echo of the forest's whispers. The Forgotten Portrait. Julian had inherited the old Wainwright mansion after his grandfather passed. It was a grand but decaying house filled with relics of a forgotten era. Among the dust and cobwebs, he discovered a portrait hidden behind a faded curtain. A woman in a flowing black dress with eyes so vivid they seemed to pierce through him. That night, as the storm raged outside, Julian was awoken by soft footsteps, distant crying. When he searched the halls, he found nothing but shadows. Each glance at the portrait made the woman's expression shift, her smile twisting into a sinister grin, her eyes darkening. Obsessed and unnerved, Julian tried to cover the painting, but the sobbing followed him like a curse. One night, thunder illuminated the portrait to reveal her eyes were hollow, bleeding a dark crimson. A voice, barely a whisper, floated through the room. "Find me before I find you." From that moment, the house no longer felt like home. Doors slammed of their own accord, mirrors reflected impossible horrors, and Julian felt watched by eyes unseen. The mansion's grip tightened until he vanished, leaving only the portrait behind, waiting for the next visitor. Static on Channel 13. Mike was never superstitious, but the night he stumbled upon Channel 13, everything changed. The screen was a sea of static, but hidden within were fleeting images. A twisted forest, a broken doll, a house with flickering lights. Every night, Mike found himself drawn to the channel, entranced by the cryptic visions. The static seemed to pulse in time with his heartbeat. Messages flickered, words like "join us" and "you're not alone." One night, as he reached for the remote, the TV screen shimmered and reached out, pulling him into the static itself. Inside, he was lost in endless white noise, trapped alongside countless others who had vanished before. Outside, the screen flickered alone, whispering secrets no one else could hear. Mike's body was never found. Only the haunted glow of Channel 13 remained. The last passenger. A night bus rolled through an empty highway, the driver weary but alert. At the last stop, a pale woman cloaked in black boarded silently. She said nothing, and the driver felt a chill crawl up his spine. At every stop thereafter, she vanished from the seat, only to reappear closer, then right behind him. He tried to ignore it, but the air grew thick, suffocating. The woman whispered threats that seemed to seep into his mind. Finally, he pulled the bus over and demanded she leave. She smiled, cold and cruel, saying, "I'm the last ride you'll ever take." The engine died, the doors locked, the road outside dissolved into darkness. The driver was never seen again. Passengers who boarded afterward spoke only of silence and a driverless bus that vanished into the night.
The Cradle's Lullaby.
In a sleepy village, an old house stood abandoned, save for a single item left behind, a cradle. For decades no child had ever slept there, yet every night a soft lullaby drifted from the attic. A mother, plagued by sleepless nights and a creeping dread, ventured upstairs one night to find the cradle rocking gently on its own. The lullaby filled the room, a haunting melody that promised eternal play. Suddenly, from beneath the blankets, a pale, fragile hand emerged, cold as death. A whisper coaxed her, "Come play with me forever." She screamed, but the lullaby swallowed her voice. The village awoke to silence, and the cradle's song haunted the empty house, waiting for its next visitor. You've just stepped into the Hollowmire archives. Where shadows linger and stories whisper in the dark. Remember, some doors are best left unopened.